You know, you can find a McDonald's pretty much anywhere on Earth. How did that happen? It's way more than just a place to get a burger. It's a cultural landmark, a global economic force. But its journey from one little roadside stand to this planetary giant, well, that's not really a story about food. It's a story about a revolutionary algorithm, a formula that completely changed the way we eat, work, and even live.
I mean, just to wrap your head around it, let's start with the sheer scale. We're talking over 43,000 restaurants worldwide. That's not just a chain, it's a global empire. Every single day, millions and millions of people eat there. The size of this operation is, well, it's absolutely central to the whole story.
So that gets us to the big question, right? How did they pull it off? How did a simple hamburger stand, run by two brothers in California, manage to build one of the most powerful and recognizable brands on the entire planet? Well, the answer is a series of brilliant and sometimes pretty ruthless innovations.
To really get it, we're going to break this down into 5 parts. We'll start at the very beginning, with the birth of the system. Then we'll see how an empire of arches was built. We'll look at its peak as the world's cafeteria, then explore the backlash when things started to go sour. And finally, we'll see how it's trying to reboot that original algorithm for today.
Okay, so our story kicks off in the 1940s, and it's not with some giant corporation, but with a popular little local drive-in and a completely game-changing idea. This is where the McDonald's formula was first cooked up.
So in 1940, Richard and Maurice McDonald are running a successful barbecue joint. It's going great, but they have this critical insight. A whopping 80% of their business was coming from just one item, hamburgers. So in 1948, they make this incredibly bold move. They shut the whole thing down for 3 months to completely re-engineer their kitchen, and what came out of it was the Speedy Service System. And let me tell you, it would become the blueprint for the entire fast food world.
The Speedy Service System was basically Henry Ford's assembly line, but for a kitchen. They chopped their menu down to just 9 core items. They got rid of waiters and car hops by creating self-service counters. And they used disposable packaging, so there were no dishes. Every single step was designed for maximum speed and minimum cost. This was version 1.0 of the McDonald's algorithm.
Their new philosophy boiled down to 3 words: fast, cheap, and consistent. It was a total break from how restaurants used to work. This wasn't just a new menu, it was a whole new way of thinking about serving food. It was a repeatable, scalable formula for pumping out hamburgers.
So the brothers had invented this incredible system, but it took another man to see its true, world-conquering potential. Let's get into Chapter 2 and see how a guy named Ray Kroc turned this efficient kitchen into a global empire. Not with burgers, but with real estate.
Enter Ray Kroc. He was a traveling salesman selling milkshake machines when he visited the McDonald Brothers stand in 1954, and he was just blown away by how efficient their operation was. He didn't just see one successful restaurant. He saw a model that could be copied hundreds, maybe even thousands of times all across America.
But just franchising the restaurants wasn't the real key. The true genius move came from McDonald's first CFO, a guy named Harry Sonborn. He gave Kroc this piece of advice that changed everything. You're not in the business of selling burgers. You're in the business of real estate. The product wasn't the food. It was the land the food was sold on.
Okay, let's break that down, because this is the secret sauce. In a normal franchise, the main company gets a tiny percentage of the food sales, so their income goes up and down with the store's daily performance. But with the real estate model, McDonald's, the corporation, would buy the plot of land and then lease it to the person opening the restaurant. This created a steady, predictable river of cash from rent, completely separate from how many Big Macs they sold. And that gave them the capital to expand at an absolutely explosive rate.
And the result of that brilliant move? Today, McDonald's pulls in around $7.5 billion a year just from rent. They are one of the biggest real estate owners on the face of the earth. The burgers, they basically just pay the franchisee's rent check to the mothership.
So with this incredibly powerful business model fueling its growth, McDonald's didn't just get bigger, it started to actually shape culture itself, becoming a symbol of this new, standardized, globalized world.
The company's influence became so massive that a sociologist named George Ritzer actually came up with a term for it: McDonaldization. It's this idea that the core principles of that fast food algorithm, efficiency, calculability, predictability, and control, started to bleed out and reshape society itself, influencing everything from our schools to our hospitals. You can literally see this story of growing power just by watching the logo change over time. It started as part of the building's architecture in '53. By '62, it became that stylized M we all know. And then, by 1993, the brand was so powerful, they didn't even need the name anymore.
just the arches. That symbol had become universal.
And beyond the food, McDonald's became what's known as a third place, right? It's not home and it's not work. It was this affordable, accessible, social hub for communities everywhere. A spot for kids' birthday parties, for hanging out after school, or just grabbing coffee. It really wove itself into the fabric of everyday life.
But as the empire got bigger and bigger, so did the criticism. At the very height of its power, the Golden Arches started to lose some of their shine. The company found itself facing this huge, multi-front backlash that questioned the very things that made it successful.
A huge part of this fight was about labor. This quote from Francis Holmes, a fast food worker, really gets to the heart of the Fight for 15 movement. Even when wages went up, workers argued it just wasn't enough, pointing to problems like not getting enough hours to make ends meet.
And the labor issue is just one piece of this growing storm. Suddenly, the brand was getting hit from all sides. For its role in the obesity epidemic, for its environmental impact, like deforestation in its beef supply chain, and, more recently, for getting tangled up in global politics, which led to massive boycotts.
And these boycotts, they had a real, tangible impact. Some reports estimated the financial hit was as high as $7 billion in lost revenue. It showed a whole new level of consumer power and just how vulnerable a global brand can be to what's happening in the world.
So, facing all these modern problems, McDonald's is doing what it's always done. It's turning back to innovation. The company is trying to reboot its core algorithm of efficiency. But this time, it's using technology to solve its problems and try to secure its future.
To deal with the health crisis, they've made some very visible changes. You've probably seen them, introducing things like apple slices and setting new nutrition rules for Happy Meals, all in an effort to change their image and seem like a more responsible choice for families. But the really big bet is on tech. McDonald's is pouring money into AI to build a 21st century version of that original Speedy system. Their new AI-powered drive-thru is designed to take your order faster and more accurately than a person ever could. It's basically a complete digital reboot of the McDonald's algorithm.
So all of this leaves us with a really fascinating question. What even is McDonald's today? Is it a fast food company? Is it a real estate empire that just happens to sell burgers on its properties? Or is it becoming a tech company that uses data and AI to be as efficient as possible? The truth is, it's probably all three. And its ability to juggle all those identities is what will decide if the Golden Arches will keep dominating the world for years to come.